Well, this is some massive news. Bernie Sanders has not ruled out another run for president. So, this is crazy. Crazy in a good way, I will say. That's my opinion. We'll get to more on that, as well as the chances of this happening and why we now know this. So, this is legitimate news. This isn't like speculation. Their team sent this out to allies. So this quote here, in the event of an open 2024 Democratic presidential primary, Senator Sanders has not ruled out another run for president. So we advise that you answer any questions about 2024 with that in mind, says the memo from Faz Shakir, a close Sanders advisor who was his campaign manager when he ran in 2020. The memo was shared by a person with direct knowledge of its contents and on the condition of anonymity because it was not released publicly, and confirmed by a second person with direct knowledge of the contents. Shakir did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Quote, while it's frustrating this private memo leaked to the media, the central fact remains true, which is that Senator Sanders is the most popular office holder in the country, said Sanders spokesman Mike Kaska when asked for comment. Kaska and the memo based that assertion on a recent poll. So, this is amazing. Now, the chances of this happening, I think, are slim, mostly because of this. This came out this week that Joe Biden apparently told Barack Obama that he will run again in 2024. Biden thinks that he's the only one who can beat Trump. A source tells The Hill, as Trump is readying his own third term. Now, I don't think that's true. I'll get to some polling later on Bernie here, but Bernie consistently beat Trump both in 2016 and 2020 in polling at higher numbers than Joe Biden was. Despite what the media was putting out there, the only reason that Bernie was not able to win the Democratic primary in 2016 or 2020 was not because of his lack of popularity. It was because of the fact that mostly loyal Democratic voters vote in Democratic primaries. And a lot of the states are closed states, meaning that even if you want to vote for Bernie, unless you're a registered Democrat and registered way beforehand to be able to vote in the primary, you couldn't vote for him. So Bernie's appeal is largely, it's across all political lines. It's Democrats, independents, Republicans, people that aren't even political at all. That's who Bernie appeals to, and that's why he would be able to bring out a lot of people in a general election that don't normally vote. This is the argument I discussed constantly during the primary in 2020 and in 2016, and it still holds true. This is why Bernie continues to this day to be the most popular senator, and I'll get to some polling on that shortly. But first, Ryan Nobles of CNN confirmed this report, showing the entire memo here. I'll link to this below the video if you want to read through the entire thing. It was largely about informing political allies how to respond to questions, criticisms about Bernie Sanders. So it was, advice around that. That also mentioned that he would be, considering a run, or has not ruled out a run if Biden doesn't run again. Nobles goes on to say here, at the end of 2020 campaign, Sanders told me that he was likely done running for president. Quote, no one could predict the future, but I think it is fair to say I will not be running for president again. Sanders said, quote unquote, I guess. He also says here, Nobles does, also worth noting that Sanders is up for re-election to his Senate seat in 2024 as well. He would be 83 when he takes office in 2025, should he run and win his Senate seat or as president. So, that's a high number. 83 is historically, the elderly. But to Bernie's credit, his mind is still there. It's not like, he's not like Dianne Feinstein, who at this point, there's been over a year of reports discussing how she is suffering, serious issues when it comes to potential dementia and forgetting conversations she just had, that kind of thing. There's no reporting at all about Bernie having those sorts of, episodes. So his mind's still there. He's perfectly fine. He's no worse than Biden. In fact, I'd say he's in much better shape mentally than Biden is. So why not? Like, if you're better than Biden, Biden is the current president, why not? So especially, of course, if Biden doesn't run. It seems unlikely that Bernie would challenge Biden if Biden were to run again, which is why I think there is still a very slim chance of this happening, because I do think Biden will run again, but you never know. Now, quickly on some polling here. So this is the most recent poll I could find about Bernie. As there isn't a lot of polling right now, of course, there's no reason to be polling, Bernie Sanders at the moment. But this from The Independent, it's actually a Economist YouGov poll that shows Bernie Sanders' approval rating higher than Biden and Harris as he champions minimum wage and stimulus checks. So Bernie continues to be incredibly popular for this very reason, that he actually fights for the working class. People know this. Him being an independent is a massive asset because it doesn't potentially turn off, voters that may not identify as Democrats. Him being independent, I think, benefits him in that sense, in a general election especially. That's why, again, hurts him during a primary, but in a general election where anyone can vote, it's a massive asset to be an independent. Another poll here. So I think Morning Consult stopped doing this polling, but this is from 2019, and it was the 11th quarter in a row that Bernie Sanders topped the most popular senator list. So here he is back in 2019 at the top of this list, once again, the 11th time in a row. He's incredibly popular, continues to be very popular, would absolutely win in a general election. The issue, of course, is the primary. The amount of money that corporations put against Bernie Sanders. You saw that in 2016. You saw it again in 2020. There's a reason why they fight against him, because they know he would be an actual fighter for the working class against corporate rule. So the biggest barrier there is the primary. If he is to run again, because that depends on Biden. And I do think at this point, Biden is going to run again. I think that he thinks that he's the only one that could beat Trump, and that's what he's worried about. Kamala Harris, I absolutely think Biden would do better than Kamala Harris. So in terms of that assessment, I think he's correct to make that assessment about himself compared to who would be his potential, successor there in Harris. But if Biden doesn't run, Bernie 2024, let's hope that happens.